Hey there, Flora here, and welcome to another episode of Jam Packed. Today on the show, we're headed back to the lush highlands of Boquete, Panama to meet my friend Nina, a self described global citizen, an artisan chocolatier, and an all around multi hyphenate. From her roots in Washington, D.C., to time spent in Liberia, Turkey, and now Panama, Nina's story is one of adventure, adaptability, and finding ways to blend personal passions with sustainable work. We talk about her journey from baker to chocolate maker, how she and her husband built their artisan chocolate company, and why she's cautiously curious about AI in business. This is a conversation about flavor, place, and navigating the sweet and sometimes bittersweet sides of entrepreneurship. Let's dive in. Hi, Nina. How you doing today?
Hi. Hi, Flora. I'm fine.
Cool. Well, tell the world who you are and what you do, and let's talk about your story today.
Okay. I'm Nina. I live in Boquete, Panama. I'm originally from the United States. Spent some of my life in Liberia as well, and also Turkey.
Cool.
Um, Here in Boquete, my husband and I have an artisan chocolate company where we produce high quality, very, very delicious chocolate.
Awesome.
And then I also do a bunch of different side jobs in real estate and uh, social gatherings, events, and stuff like that.
Wow, cool. And I'm like talking to more and more people these days who wear all of these hats, right? And they're kind of like piecemealing their income together and really focusing on utilizing their personal strengths and then expanding that into their professional world versus just like finding a role in their professional world and trying to make themselves fit into it. And so that's been kind of fun to explore and talking to people and just how they have so many different roles, me included. Um, Talk to me about how'd you end up in Panama?
Well, we were living in Istanbul, my husband and I. He's Turkish, and we had a 3-year-old at the time. This was about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, maybe. And there was some political stuff going on in Turkey that made me feel uncomfortable because my father's Liberian, and there had been a civil war in Liberia during my teenage years. I wasn't there to experience it, but I still vicariously have some issues, I guess, related to that. And so like oh geez, pepper spray and smoke gas and like cauldrons of like squadrons of police like marching up and down the street really wigged me out. And that was going on in our neighborhood in Turkey at the time, so we decided to leave. And I had left the United States and I was interested in becoming a global citizen. And my particular area of the United States, Washington, D.C., didn't seem like it was a great place. I really love the fact that I had the opportunity to grow up in Washington, D.C., but I 100% did not want to raise my son there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were looking around for places to move, and some friends from Turkey had moved. A Turkish American couple had moved to Panama and had great things to say about Panama. And so we moved here sight unseen. Would I do that again? Probably not.
Okay.
But did it all work out? Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do it again?
um, as I've become older, I believe more in like due diligence and rational decisions rather than like spontaneous, exciting, adventurous ones. So I think I would have just looked at things a little bit differently. Yeah.
And you mentioned this term global citizen, and you said you had wanted to become a global citizen. Can you like talk to us about that idea?
Okay. Um, I've never felt rooted because I was born in DC, and then they took me to Liberia when I was young and I started school there. And then I came back to DC, and within the States, I guess I didn't stay in DC. When I graduated, I went to Kentucky, which was a radical change. And then from Kentucky, I went to New York and then Puerto Rico. I think, I mean, I don't know, for a while, I thought that I was just a very adventurous spirit and excited to be meeting new people and having new experiences all the time, right? But I think that my movement has stemmed from just kind of never really making these rooted connections that other people make, being born in a place and going through school with the same group of people and like knowing your community. I think I never really invested too much in that or had the opportunity to, and therefore never felt stuck anywhere. And that's made me free to move and not be a tree and experience a lot of different cultures and learn a lot of things from other people and the way that people do things differently from me. So it's been an enriching experience. And yeah, I don't know. That's what I mean by global citizen. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No, no, you did. And how does like a career fit into being a global citizen?
For me, it really kind of doesn't.
Okay. All right.
I went to university and I studied like liberal arts and I did kind of well and I like to read and I'm very intellectual. But I didn't pursue my a career as much as I pursued adventure. And so now I'm finding myself in a place where I just have to rely on my strengths to to survive. And for me, it hasn't been easy to keep doing the same thing year after year after year after year. I've had to, shift and diversify and find other ways to support myself and my family.
And then that led you to chocolate.
Well, chocolate is a love story for me. Um, from the time that we were dating, my husband has loved dark chocolate. And I was a baker when we started dating, and I could never make him any chocolate desserts because whenever I went into the cupboards to buy my chocolate, it was gone. So when we were moving to Panama, and I found out that, Panama is like it's very close to the birthplace of chocolate. The oldest chocolate beans that have been modified to produce food was found in Ecuador, and I think it's 2,500 years old. So we're very close, and there are lots of I think that the environment in Central America is great for cacao, much better than the cacao that comes out of Africa. So when we were coming to
Why?
Panama, I said to my husband, "Pardon me?
Why? Why do you think it's better?
Well, this is where it originates. Like cacao isn't an African plant. All of the cacao farms in Africa um, come from, Central American, South American plants,
Cool.
and then they're planted in a kind of agro business cacao farm kind of style where a lot of the cacao that you can find in Panama is foraged in the comarcas and they grow in a more like permaculture environment and they're able to take on there's lots of biodiversity in Panama that's not you don't have the same quality in the areas of Africa where
Comarca.
they're grown. Pardon me?
Tell people what a comarca is.
Oh, a comarca in Panama is kind of like a reservation. It's an autonomous region that's run by the indigenous ethnic groups that live there.
Wow, cool. So, I mean, chocolate started as a love story. You've obviously gotten very educated into it, and that might just be because that's who you are and you like educating yourself on this. But um talk us through like how and what does this chocolate business look like? And then, I'd love to learn how AI plays into that because it's interesting to me that AI can play into anything in the jungle in Latin America. But talk to me a little bit about how you guys got your business to where it is, what it looks like now, and kind of your day to day.
Okay, so it started off that I was going to make chocolate for him with my own two hands from bean to bar. And while I did learn how to do that from the woman that started our business, we didn't start our own business. We purchased our chocolate business from the woman that taught me how to make chocolate from bean to bar. Her name is Deborah Gilshan, and she's from Southern California, but she retired to Boquete and started this business. Once we bought the business, I got pregnant, and I was an older pregnant lady, and my husband had to take over making the chocolate for himself. And he has an MFA degree. He's a Master of Fine Arts, and he specialized in sculpture. So he really took to the molding of chocolate and the designing of chocolate, and he loves chocolate. So, our flavors are very personalized to, his palate and the palate of a chocolate lover. And he just got very good at it very quickly. So now he's making the chocolate. And I gotta say, Flora, I'm a Luddite. And I see these ads on Facebook all the time that's like, young people, I'm sure you've seen it too. Young people are using ChatGPT to run all these businesses, and
Yeah.
older folks are just asking questions. I'm kind of in that second category. So, how much have we used AI to support our business? I've done some little video infographics,
Cool.
and
Big.
yeah, I've used some AI in the design of that and the organization of that. Um, I have in my role as a real estate agent used AI much more for, verbiage and descriptions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as a consumer, I can tell when I feel like I can tell when I'm getting like AI generated stuff, and it's kind of annoying for me. I mean, I guess like I said, I'm a Luddite, and I like down to earth, authentic, personal relationships and communications. So
For sure.
I'm very hesitant to move forward and step into the 21st century with AI.
You say that though, and you're like, I was just asking ChatGPT questions, and then you're like, I've been making videos. I mean, that's a big leap. And I feel like a lot of people aren't using ChatGPT or different LLMs to use it to even make videos. So, I mean, that's big. And what'd you think? Like, how was your experience using it to make video?
I mean, I don't use it to actually create the videos. I
Okay.
just ask about things like timing, um an ideal duration, sequencing, um, you know.
Okay. And is this for like social media content?
No, it's for customers, potential customers and collaborators.
Oh, okay.
It's like a business to business product.
Cool. Okay. And
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like you want to use AI more in your business, or are you like cautiously, reluctant?
Um I would like to have someone who's proficient, like my son, take over AI and social media interactions for the business.
Yeah.
And I would like to focus on, kind of strategic operations that may use AI, like in a limited sense, like I said, for guidance, but not straight up content, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. So, and I think it's fun when I have these conversations because I'm not an AI expert. I work alongside one. And I honestly, my usage of AI is also pretty much like, the 8-year-old version of me just asking a lot of questions, right? So I'm also in that boat. But it's fun to talk to business owners at their different capacity with it. And sometimes you're like, some person's like, oh, I just started using ChatGPT. Other people are like, I have these agents working for me and automating my sales and my marketing and my top of funnels. And there's there's like no right or wrong way per se at this point because it's still so new and there's such a variety of like a range to use it. And in so many different ways, like chocolate, real estate, you know what I mean? We just labeled off a few. Anyway, I think it's interesting. And I think it's fun to like see the variations of how people are using it and not using it and where people are still a little skeptical or, where people are excited and just kind of finding that balance and exploring that. Um, okay, so in an ideal world, you said your son runs with the social media content creation. Is he on board with that idea?
Of course not. Heck no, never.
Why?
Because he has his own life and his own interests, and chocolate's not one of them.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So in an ideal world for you, you're like, I don't really want to learn this new whole world of AI. I would rather have someone who's like excited about it and they can really dig into the technologies and start using it for these purposes.
Yeah, and I think that because I come from a certain generation, I run the risk of like outsourcing my thinking and becoming very lazy,
Hmm.
just using AI to do things that I would normally, kind of struggle to do. I feel like it's cheating a little bit. Like I did a flyer. I did a flyer for an event recently using AI 100%. I was just like, this is the group, this is the date, this is what it is, this is what it is. This is how I want it to feel. Make me a flyer. And it made the flyer and I sent it to my friend or my colleague. And she was like, great job. And I'm like, man, I can't take any credit for this at all. This is completely AI. Don't even.
I hear you, but like you're also using a tool and you're using it efficiently and correctly and you're getting what you're seeking out of it. So
Not really. It spelled
what?
afternoon wrong. It spelled it afternoon, double N. And I was like, change afternoon. And so it changed afternoon. And then like collaboration and something else was like,
Yeah,
in the end,
that's
it needed to be
probably.
modified personally. But
Well, there you go. You were being a part of it.
no, I didn't do it. I made her do it.
So,
I
okay.
was like, I can't get AI to fix it, so just fix the word.
Okay, so AI is like this wave of technology, obviously, just like the newspaper or the radio, right? And people were like, no one's going to be reading anymore, or no one, you know what I mean? Like these waves. And like, do you feel like in 6 months, if I were to come back to you, do you still feel like you're going to be cautiously skeptic even then? Or do you imagine you'll be using it a little bit more in your personal and professional life?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure how I'm going to answer that question. I'd like to say I'm going to stay the way that I am, but change is constant.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that like, oh my God, when cell phones were becoming something that everybody had, I was like, F that. You leave a message on my voicemail. I do not want to be available to everybody all the time. This is crazy. I'm not going to do it. And then when people started reading time with their phones instead of wearing watches, I was like, this is crazy. The phone is the phone. A watch is a watch. The TV is the TV. You know what I mean? I resist for as long as I can. But now, yeah, do I watch videos on my phone? Do I check the time on my phone? Is the alarm on my phone? Everything's on my phone. So I'll get sucked in like everybody else probably. But I'd like to say no, Flora.
Well, let's touch base in 6 months. How about that?
Okay.
Nina, thanks for joining me. And you know, I'll link your chocolate company to this resource page. And if anyone comes to Boquete, they can come take a class and learn how to make the chocolate themselves or just buy a bar. And I wish you guys all the best. Thanks
Great.
again for your time today.
This was a fun chat. Thanks for having me.
Talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ciao.